Markets V-shaping off the lows after the invasion, as well as the Strait of Hormuz closure. Bulls attempting an engulfing reversal, but not quite getting there. We'll talk about that and much more for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. Here you can see a big gap down. Actually, not even really a big gap down, all things considered. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there was, again, just a lot of hedging for this event. And you can see, obviously, oil ran up into Friday's close. And we had a pretty good pop here, and when it's kind of double top on oil futures. We'll talk about that, of course, with everything else in a minute here. You can see where ES closed. We got below that kind of wedge-ish trend line, tested the lower level. We talked about this in the pre-market video, and I gave you guys the entry here at 68.12, and we actually made money on this twice. To the high there around 34, and then we absolutely made a killing on this trend like here today. So very nice, typical classic buy the invasion V-shaped type move here. However, bears did save some of this. You can see here SPX. It did finish green, so you could make a case you have kind of a news failure to an extent. But what really what I was really focusing in on the last hour was this right here was right when the Strait of Hormuz was announced. It was closed by with the Iranian military, one of their generals or whatever. And they bought the dip, but they did not. I mean, like this is not a coincidence. This matters. 68.82.96 was the high, and we closed at 68.81.62. So it's not an engulfing candle, and yeah, it matters. It absolutely does. You can see the cues here. I mean, like 20 cents, all right, 32, and we closed at 09. It's definitely not a coincidence. I know you might say, well, it's only a half a dollar. No, it matters. It definitely got defended on purpose. So, and you can see it. The VIX actually held a bid pretty much most of the day. I kept waiting for this big sell because I kept waiting for the roll to come, and it never really did. It did, but they kind of bought it. The VIX held a pretty good bid for most of the day. VIXy did go red briefly, and did pop back up, and you can see VIX futures there, same thing, basically filled the gap and then popped up, about 2% VVIX. Again, that 110 handle, that's always a good point of control to look for. But what does this matter here? Well, it's frustrating, right? Because if we had gotten an engulfing candle today, that could have been like a definitive, like, okay, we're going to go in one direction here, and now we have some clear signal, which could still happen over the next couple of days or so, because it is a very good move off the lows for sure. There's certainly going to be some momentum here, behind that, I'm sure. And we did go up and pierce the 618, so this does need to digest, but very good relief leg so far. And we did see some leadership out of software, which we've talked about. IGV, I mean, that was green immediately. Like the second market opened up. CrowdStrike, actually, they report earnings tomorrow. I actually own this stock from 357, I think. And this gapped up. I know, I was like, oh, nice CrowdStrike, nice move there. They also had Microsoft here back up to the 400 handle. So some tech names getting a better bid here. And Nvidia held the line pretty much all day. And again, this is like, I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence. 18259 and 18237. Like, it matters. It did save the 200 though. So nice rebound here. Where can this go from here? We'll say. Obviously we touched 6,900 like to the tick almost. And you got the 50 MA right there above that, which is minor, but it is still a psychological level. It's a minor because we've traded through it so much here. But the 4 hour, again, and it's like you can't imagine, right, that we're in a tightening range. But if you look at the cash S&P, we still are. If you just if you take away the futures, this is still tightening range with the 130 point move off the lows, and we're still tightening. Like, that's not a breakout anymore these days. But there's the E-mini right there, 68.95. That's been a big level. We've talked about that for 3 weeks now, and through that maybe we go back up to the high end there. But yeah, it's one step at a time, one day at a time. We're absolutely crushing at day trading. It just sucks for swing trading. All the volatility right now is in single stocks, and that's really where you have to be. Trading the indexes is not good from a swing trading standpoint for more than a day or so. But these moves though, you get in, if you can get in near these lows here and catch these liquidity grabs, you catch the trend leg, and it gives you another a sell, and then you get right back in, and I mean, that you're getting like spoiled with 100-point moves every day. I'm already basically almost at like my normal weekly profit for just. Then I was that at like Monday, this like the first in the morning on a Monday. And we also had some trailers too. We got the TQQQ, just a runner left, and not much there on ES either. But yeah, we got to the right tail at 610, and we'll see. Can the Qs go up there and test 615 again? We'll see what happens. Another kind of giveaway there. We talked about this over the weekend when I was forced to work, which is just so unfair. Um, but Bitcoin, right? Um, it's like, okay, like again, you just sometimes just look at it like normally and logically, right? If this is a big, if this is the Bear Mageddon news, right? World War III, and we can't even take out Tuesday's low on the weakest asset class in the whole market. That's kind of your signal here that that dip was going to get bought. And they got to clear this stupid high though. I mean, they got to clear this high from last Wednesday. Like, it's like chop chop bulls. Like, you got to do it here. So Bitcoin, but yeah, nice rebound. And sometimes these leading indicators will give you a leading indicator if you know what to look for. IWM though, that wasn't engulfing. So we gotta talk about that. Again, the most risk on sector in the market, right? Small caps, they make the least amount of money. That wasn't engulfing. And what I like here is how it gapped below that wedge trend line and then just closed green all in one shot, closed back above the gap below the 50 and the 20, or I should say gap below the 50 was already below the 20, and then closed above both. That's good. That's a sign of strength. So I think this market, I mean, like I know everybody's looking for a breakdown, but I think this market, there's just so much dispersion out there. It's holding it up. Maybe it can't last past March or something, but it's clearly still there right now. And over the night, like over this next week here, you're gonna have positive flows coming back here after this week. So, I mean, you got the Strait of Hormuz closed, you got World War III, you got everything you want, bear headline wise, and we're still flat. So I think that can cause some more, hedge buyback here, but probably, the VIX got, it held off the lows at the end of the day. It held above 20. So, I think you got another week here. I know everybody's obsessed with this wedge here. Closed right on. Of course, they close it right on it, don't they? But anyway, diamond here down 48 cents. But again, just like everything else, nice little rebound. Yeah. YM defending the 100. I mean, look at that too. They defended that inside bar low too on the close. So we never closed below that. So interesting there on the YM. SMH up 2 cents. Right back to the 20-day. We talked about NVDA. You just see Broadcom, AMD, nice pop, but still red. Cloud software bounce is not done. It's still got some legs to it. Dow transports were green, and again just off all-time highs too. So they're still acting well. TLT got rocked, and it's like no. I said this on Friday too. Remember, I was like, notice how everybody's all gung ho about TLT now, and then bam, they got hammered here. But where were they a few weeks ago? They were all piled into gold and piled into silver, and short the dollar. By the way, the dollar broke out at 98. So this market has a funny way of yanking people the other way. So I believe I told you 91. I know I told members that 91 was resistance on TLT. I didn't get a chance to short it. It did get there pre-market, but I wasn't going to deal with it then. I already had to work enough over the weekend. So XHP down 1.9. IYR had another decent day, another right under 52-week highs. Banks held up pretty well. XLF did close red, but it didn't make a new low. Like, we didn't open and make a new low there. KRE was green pretty much all day, defending the 100. Broker dealers here up 1.5. Oil we'll talk about here. So I think this is going to stay, it's going to stay below 72. So there's a good amount of open interest there for the futures. So that'll stay below 72 for today. That's just where it's being kept. You got a tightening range right there right now, which it does need to tighten up because of the gap. But I'm interested to see now, because again, here's the thing with the Strait of Hormuz. Like, again, that's why I said if they let this engulf, like, that is pretty damning, because I mean, like, right, that's the penultimate bear, like, headline, right? And if they buy that dip, right, and the same thing with oil here, if this sells off afterwards, that's just not, that's not what you want to see. It's like a news failure. But right now, I wouldn't touch oil here. It's just it needs to settle for me to get involved with it. But we'll see. This headline stuff is not over with right now, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. XLE did finish up 2%, but it finished off the highs. XOP up 3.8, and then OIH did finish red. I was kind of hoping this would get up to 450. It got pretty close. Got to 440 at like 2 in the morning. But that could be considered a news failure. We'll see what it does tomorrow. I mean, my target's up at 450. My target's honestly at like 500, but I still have a runner position on this, and I'm debating taking it off. We'll see. Yeah, the dollar index, we talked about the bull flag. There it is. Boom, beautiful. Not much else to be said there. And again, just like everybody else, everybody's short dollar, de-dollarization, dollars going to zero. Europe is so great. China's so great. The BRICS are so great. The dollar is so terrible. And that was the exact low. So nothing's changed. Gold up 2%. Nice move there. It did come off the highs. Silver was down here. Now, a lot of people were like, why is silver going down with the resource? Well, it's just, I mean, we went into some technical levels here. We went into some pretty good technical levels. I've been telling you guys 95 is going to be resistance, and that's where it went, and that's where it stalled. I don't think it's broken here or busted. They bought a little bit off. They bought the dip a little bit here. I think it needs to consolidate. If this can flag a little bit today, tomorrow, I think it can actually push through that by the end of the week, but we'll see what it does. This is not trading advice, by the way. I'm not saying that's a quality setup just yet, but we'll see what it does. Platinum looks the same. Palladium looks about the same too. And then copper did come in here, down 1.5, but held the 20-day. And we already talked about Bitcoin. So it's got to get going through that Wednesday high here. Looks like futures are down just a few minor points here. Yeah, that's not much. So we'll see what happens. We do need to base out a range here, but my guess is there's a little bit of momentum left on this bull move, just because of how robust of a move that was. And again, like I said, the RTY, IWM there, pretty good looking daily candle. If we had gotten that on SPX and QQQ, I would be very much more bullish here. But more so right now, I'm just kind of like in the, we'll be supported. We'll be supportive for right now. We might even see a pretty good right tail. We'll see. But yeah, like with this geopolitical stuff here, the headlines are not done. They're definitely not done. So be aware. A lot of good trades though. Loving the volatility. But I will be looking forward to it when it settles down a little bit. I'll be honest. So anyways, guys, we'll wrap it up here. You guys take care. Have a great one. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow.